Hello and welcome back to Ronan. My name is Beast, and today we're back with Not Fiction. Ignore the last part of the song I was playing in the background. I was listening to music before it started, and I thought the soundtrack was over almost over anyway, so why the fuck not? And I don't know why, but today I have a weird obsession with Luigi's theme from Mario Strikers Charged Football. Which, if you haven't heard it, go ahead and listen to it, because... What? Like, what the fuck? Like, Luigi just goes full Spanish. And I'm like... And I'm curious why the fuck that soundtrack isn't in Smash, because it's amazing. Anyways, so yeah, we got that out of the way. Let's get the next thing out of the way. Namely, booze. When it comes to the CGs, I checked earlier, and turns out that we are 54% done, apparently. So that is quite quaint, you could say. What the fuck? I opened up Discord. I not opened up Discord. I minimized OBS. Because I wanted to have access to and open up the censorship thing, and below my Discord was open, and it's just one of the pages from the 300 slime killing manga thing. So yeah, anyways, prepared. Oh yeah. I always have to open it once, so when it's time for it to seriously open, it doesn't wait for a second before actually opening up. Anyways, there we go, I have my drink. I am exhausted again today because I had to help in the garden again. Looking around earth and rocks is not very nice. Anyways, I feel like I've decided I'm gonna probably play HarmonEy on my own time. And also, a little thing that I may not have noticed. I was trying to research if I'm allowed to play 9, and therefore I looked up and found a page from Sekai Project where they basically say what they allow people to upload. So stuff that's permitted is like a butterfly in the string dream, a magical high school girl, Alphine, like Eternal Hour, Golden Hour, Fatal 12, Maitetsu, all the Nekoparas, Order of Ataraxia. There is the demons, of course. Void, World End Economica, JoJo Simulator. Then there's like permitted with limitations, which has 9 is permitted, but do not include the opening or ending song from each game. For 9 episode 4, do not include the opening, ending, or insert song from the game. Baldur's Gate is only permitted for the first route, the rain route. Clannad is permitted only for reviews, no LPs permitted. However, you may stream the first 3 hours of from the beginning. Oh, I already fucked up there as well. Chrono Clock's permitted up to the ending of the prologue. Ah, shit. Because the main concern was Wagamama High Spec is demo only. For those people that know, that's like the 3rd game I played, and I have the entire series up. So basically, I messaged them, hey, is this alright? If it isn't, I'm willing to take it down. Yeah, let's see how they react to that, and let's see if they, let's see, like... Hold on, let me just... I will judge for Chrono Clock based on something. Hold on. You know, I'm not gonna worry about Chrono Clock because I can just use the excuse that Bosco has an entire playthrough up, so I thought, why wouldn't it be fine for me? Of course, technically this doesn't fucking work like this. But hey, listen, I'm desperate. I really like the Chrono Clock Series 1, and I don't want to like redo it after getting permission or something. So anyways, yeah, we'll see if I'll have to take down the Wagamama videos. Currently, I have them all privated. And if they give me the go-ahead, I'll just upload it. I'll just publicize them again. But anyways, this was a day like any other. As was my fate, living with a freelancer, the week of doom had arrived. So it begins. I heard a scream of despair echo from her room. This wasn't the first time I had heard that particular cry. It was an experience I'd grown accustomed to. So much so that I didn't bat an eye hearing it. I simply put down my pencil and headed to the source of the scream. Jeez, I'm coming in. I opened the door to her room, walked over to her, and tousled her hair. I hugged her from behind, catching her as she leaned back into her chair. Her earlier scream echoed in my mind as I held her close. You're doing great. Will it be another all-night today? That's right. This is that week. Her deadline is coming up. I see. Well, don't overdo it. Be insensitive to say, huh? Hang in there. You can already do that even without me. Despite her smile, she seemed a little overtired as she said this. Are you sure you're okay? I'm not sure I follow that logic. Though she said this every time, I felt like the situation was a bit worse this time around. With the buildup of energy drinks surrounding her, she'd been holding herself up a lot more lately. When she was like this, my voice had zero chance of reaching her. This may be conceited of me to think, but if she's doing this all for me, isn't she overdoing it a little? I couldn't help but think that. Picking up on some shift in my behavior, she suddenly looked up at me. No. She let out a large sigh, stood up from her chair, and walked over to me. Leading me by the hand, she walked us over to the sofa. Huh? She pulled my head down onto her lap. Chisa? Her expression was a bit more subdued than usual when she said this. She was mad. Ugh. Her tone was unexpectedly strict, so I accidentally let out a little whimper out of fear. Seeing me in that state, her expression softened to her usual gentle smile. She patted my head and opened her mouth to speak. Am I really doing anything, though? Really now? Well, that would certainly make me happy. A small part of me still doubted her words. Huh? Your own sake?
ユウはそれを叶えてくれた。私の夢を現実にしてくれた。だから私はここまでやってこれたし、これからもやっていける。いつも支えてくれて、愛してくれてありがとう。
A word struck a chord within me, causing a pleasant warmth to spread throughout my chest. Even if it's impossible right now, I'll definitely make her happy someday. I swear this from the bottom of my heart.
まあ、でも、だからかな。幸せすぎて、今までのが書けなくなっちゃったんだけどね。
Her lips curled into a bitter smile.
トマ、ちょっと話はそれたけど、ユウが気にすることは何もないの。ユウがいてくれる。愛してくれる。それ以上に幸せなことは他にないんだから。だから、難しい話はこれでおしまい。わかった？
Yeah, I got it. Thanks, Chisa.
どういたしまして。それに、私的には負い目を感じられるより、そうやってありがとうって言われた方が幸せよ。
Yeah, she's totally right. Once again, she taught me an important lesson. Seriously, I'm no match for her at all. But one day for sure.
それにしても、膝枕なんて本当に久しぶり。ユウがまだ小さい時はよくやってたのにね。
Well, I've grown a lot since then.
ほら、大きくなったから嫌いになったの？
I wouldn't go that far. Once you get to a certain age, it gets a bit awkward.
前は私が座ってると自分から膝に頭乗せてきたくせに。
Now you mentioned it, I guess that did happen. As a kid, I wore my desires on my sleeve. In some ways, you could say I was a far bolder then. As for right now, I'm way too shy about this stuff.
それで、今はどう？
What do you mean?
膝枕の感想。
She asked me something embarrassing again. Feels nice and warm and soothing, I guess. I answered her honestly. In response, she showed me a cheerful smile.
それはよかった。さ、有成分もたっぷり補充できたし、そろそろ再開しよっかな。
What's with you and you power?
私の元気の源。
With that, she gently patted my head once more. Chisa? That feels way too good, by the way.
何？
Can I study here? If I'm not in the way, that is. I was overcome by an irreplaceable desire to spend as much time with her as possible.
寂しくなっちゃった？
Meanwhile, she took it as an opportunity to tease me again.
もちろんいいわよ。
She accepted my desires with her usual tenderness. Thanks.
今日のユウは甘えん坊ね。
I couldn't tell if I was happy or embarrassed right now. Well, I absolutely could have turned down her coddling, and my desire to be with her was far stronger. Chisa sighed. Stretched my stiff muscles. Looking at the clock, it was already past 2 a.m. Was it because my talk with you had taken so long? Or was it because I'd felt pathetic about making him worry and worked longer than usual? This slump of mine had continued on for far longer than I'd anticipated.
そのどちらもかしらね。
Despite everything I had said earlier, right now I was overcome by an overwhelming feeling of happiness. Perhaps that was the source of this new inspiration. That was absolutely what was happening here. With those conflicting thoughts swirling around in my head, I looked over to check on you.
あら、寝ちゃってる。
He was sleeping soundly on the couch with an adorable expression on his face.
ほんと、かわいい顔して。これは襲っちゃってもいいってこと？
I joked to myself quietly. Well, so I say, but part of me actually wanted to do it. But as you'd expect, you wasn't exactly raring to go right now.
ちょっと前に襲ったわね。
I recalled our encounter the other day where I'd woken him up. I had woken him up with a gobby. Jeez, my thoughts were interrupted as I heard him call my name. For a second I thought I'd woken him up, but it looks like he was just talking in his sleep.
まったく、 こんなところで寝たら体を痛くするっていうのに。
Although it was getting warmer and it was still only spring. I don't know why, but this just reminds me of like a meme I saw recently. Like, yes, I finally created a potion that will get that have the same effects as an entire night's sleep. And somebody like takes it, drinks it. How do you feel? I still feel tired, but now my back hurts. It works! Hold on, did I read that one? Although it was getting warmer, it was still only spring. I didn't want him to catch a cold, so I made a mental note to grab a blanket while I went to make my coffee. Before that, I enjoyed the view for a while longer. I softly stroked his cheek, being careful not to wake him as I recalled our earlier conversation.
ユウに心配かけて負い目感じさせちゃったのは私の責任よね。
If I'd simply had my act together, we wouldn't have had to worry about all that complicated stuff. I wasn't naive to our situation, nor the challenges we'd have to endure to make it work. My sense of responsibility was far too high to think otherwise. I knew all of this, and married him anyway. I selfishly wanted everything.
ちょっと、ユウにあんなこと言ったのに、私がこんなんじゃダメよね。
I need to crush this rising negativity and take my thoughts in a brighter direction. After all, it's thanks to him that my life has gained all this color. That's why I need to return the favor and love him with everything I have.
もちろん、肉体的にもね。
My lips curled into a smile as I reached out to poke his cheek.
さて、私もそろそろ寝ないとだけど。
It was the first time I'd picked up my pen in a while. I wanted to make up for the time I've wasted.
それに、早く終わればそれだけユウとの時間も増えるしね。
To ensure he didn't get a cold, I draped a blanket over him as he slept. Taking one last look at his cute face, I returned to my work. I was relaxing in the living room, having finished cleaning up after our meal. Chisa walked into the living room.
お風呂沸いたけど先入る？
Nah, you can go first.
オッケー。それじゃあお先にお風呂もらうね。
Grabbing a change of clothes, she started heading to the bathroom. Then she stopped halfway, turned her head, and gave me one of her usual teasing smiles.
ユウも一緒に入る？
No, I'm good.
一緒に入らないの？昔はよく一緒に入ってたじゃない。
That was when I was just a kid. I was young and naive at the time. That's a lie, I honestly just wanted to see your body.
残念。
Despite her words, she had a smug smile on her face. That incredibly alluring smile of hers made my heart skip a beat.
仕方ない。今日は一人で入ることにしますか。あ、でも気が変わったらいつでも入ってきていいからね。
She turned around and left the room, still smirking as she did. I sighed, or rather took a deep breath to calm my nerves. She never changes. I was all hot and bothered now as usual. That said, I feel like I always end up like this each and every time. We've been married for over a year now. I should be used to her antics by now, or so you'd think. Come on, you, there's nothing compared to her usual teasing. Why are you getting nervous after all this time? That's right, you. That's right. Yep, I'm the very image of calm. Besides, as a man, I can't just let her keep messing with me like this. What? That settles it. I shut up and headed straight for the bathroom. I threw open the door and jumped in the shower behind her.
ユウ、どうしたの？
Yep, yes, he is laying his hands on her, you could say. See you after the sex scene. We're back! After our bath, Chisa was sprawled out on the couch in the living room, seemingly exhausted. I sat next to her, my body in a similar state of exhaustion.
落ち着いたけど、 でも、体の方はダメかな。
This time he was the
重いし。
he was the dominant one this time. As I looked at her in that state, I was overcome by a sudden urge to apologize. Are you mad?
何を?
She gave me a puzzled look. Well, about earlier.
驚きはしたけど、怒ることなんてないわよ。でも、どうしてあんなことをしたのか、そこは気になるかな。
She put extra emphasis on the like that and flashed me one of her usual smirks. How do I put this? I wanted to get back at you or something?
そっかそっか、やり返したかったか。
She burst out laughing. That suddenly brought her face close to mine.
でも、ユウの意外な一面にちょっとだけドキッとしちゃった。
A little, huh?
嘘。本当はすごくドキドキした。
As she said this, she blushed a little, a light smile forming on her face.
またしてくれる?
If the opportunity presents itself.
期待してるね。
Following those words, she smiled faintly. Drawn in by her charm, I returned her smile. And so our evening together drew to a close. Did she manage to meet her deadline? When I opened my eyes, it was morning. I wanted to get out of bed, but what on earth? My body felt strangely heavy. Felt like my limbs were being weighed down by lead. Couldn't move the way I wanted to.
おはよう、ユウ。
Chisa, having woken up earlier, opened the door and walked into the bedroom.
まだ寝てるの? 今日バイトでしょ? そろそろ起きなさい。
Good morning, Chisa.
なんだ、起きてるじゃない。遅いから寝坊したかと思った。って、なんだか顔色が悪いけど、大丈夫?
She gave me a once-over and furrowed her brow, her expression turning to one of concern. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just feeling a little sluggish is all. As I stood up, I was overcome by a sudden dizziness, which caused me to stumble.
ユウ、大丈夫?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's nothing. The moment you start feeling like just sluggishness, sure, okay, that can just be like you having a bad day in the morning. However, you get up and immediately dizziness. Maybe there is something mildly wrong. Call your workplace that you may be late or may not arrive at all. You'll try your best to get there if you can, but you may be sick or something.
そんな顔して言われても説得力がないんだけど。
What sort of face was I making right
ほ
now?
ら、ベッドに戻って。
But
いいから戻る。
yes, ma'am. I'd heard that tone from her before, so I knew resistance was futile.
はい、両手上げて。
She ordered me, taking out the thermometer. This was always super embarrassing, so normally I try to resist her here, but couldn't think straight right now, so I ended up obediently doing as I was told.
はい、今度は手を下ろして体温計をしっかりと挟んでね。
Yes, ma'am. I meekly followed her directions, letting her put the thermometer under my arm. I never get thermometers that you like put under the arm, because all the thermometers I've had in my life were like ones where you put in your ear. While waiting for it to take my temperature, she stood there with a concerned look on her face.
熱ね、これは。
Glancing at the beeping thermometer, she told me the results. Apparently, I had a fever of 38 Celsius. That's quite a bit higher than I thought. But I can push through this.
ユウ、どうしたの? ほら、おとなしくしてなさい。
Here, I have to say, like, he needs to stay at home. If he was working like semi-office job, like in something in that direction, then sure, he could push through it potentially if it's not too bad. However, he works at a cafe, gastronomy, serving food and drink. That's a big no-no. I tried to force myself out of bed, but she pushed me back down right away. I have to go to work.
そんな状態で行かせられるわけないでしょ。今日は休みなさい。
But if I don't go in for work, that'll just cause trouble for the owner. Jesus saw right through me, however, as her tone suddenly became more
無
strict.
理をしてもいいことはないからね。逆に迷惑をかけるだけよ。ほら、おとなしくしてなさい。
She pushed me back onto the bed.
もしもし、私、成宮ゆきの妻の。
She called the cafe to let them know I'd be taking the day off. You know, imagine if this was about his school. Like, yes, I am Naramiya Yuki's wife. Yeah, wait, wife? Yes, not like older sister or mother or... No, his wife. But he's a student. Yes, I'm well aware I am his wife after all. You know, I'm not even gonna fucking question it. I already read that. Jeez, you're so bossy.
優が強情なんだもの。
I just didn't want to take the day off
優
today.
の気持ちはわからないでもないけど、でも無理はしないこと。体調不良なんてなるときはなるんだもの。仕方ないわよ。
Yeah, I know.
それじゃ、ちょっと出かけてくるから、優はちゃんと寝てるように。
When she said she was going out somewhere, her words made me anxious for some reason. Weird too.
体にいいものを買ってくるわ。その方が早く治るだろうし。
At first, I was relieved by her words, but as I thought about it more, I suddenly felt apologetic. Sorry, she said. I know you have work to
そんなこと気に
work
しないの
too.。
それに、謝られても嬉しくないんだけど。
But
それよりも、何か欲しいものはある？桃缶買ってこようか？
I think I'll just leave it to you.
了解。じゃあ、ゆっくりしててね。すぐに戻るから。
Why does this just remind me of the fucking... This just reminds me of the Kaguya-sama dub. If you haven't known, like, a lot of people apparently don't like the dub because the narrator says Shinomiya. But I don't see a reason to fucking care, since the fucking dub is amazing. Oh, look at him. He finally gets it. Like, everything about it is great. I really need to watch it at some point. Then she left the room. Now that I was alone, the silence felt a bit weird. I guess I'll sleep. I should probably take it easy today. Feeling slightly lonely now that Chisa was gone, I closed my eyes. I woke up with a start. My mind felt a little foggy, but it wasn't bad enough that I couldn't get up. I slowly lifted myself off the bed and caught a glimpse of Chisa's back. I could hear the faint pitter-pat over her typing. Looks like she'd brought her laptop to the room and had been working here. She must have noticed me as she stopped typing and turned to face me.
落ちた？体調はどう？
Better than before at least.
本当？
As those words left her lips, she pressed her forehead against mine. Chisa?
ほら、じっとしてなさい。
Okay. My cheeks were burning up, though I couldn't tell if it was because I was sick or because her face was right in front of mine. It was super embarrassing, but feeling of her soft skin was pleasant.
ちょっとだけ暑いけど、朝よりはマシかな。喉乾いてない？ジュースあるけど飲む？
She picked up a bottle of the nightstand as she said this, took off the cap and held it out to me. I took a mouthful, letting the moisture spread across my parched throat. Thanks, Chisa. I feel much better thanks to you.
よかったよかった。夜ご飯は食べられそう？
I think so.
そっか。じゃあご飯作ってこようかな。
She closed her laptop and stood up, but before she could go, I called out to her. Chisa? Caused trouble today, so... I was about to apologize, but I stopped myself. Times like this, rather than apologizing. Actually, thanks, Chisa. I'm happy that you were here with me today.
どういたしまして。
She smiled sweetly. That smile of hers was stronger than any medicine. And so I ate dinner together with Chisa in the bedroom. She tidied up after both of us, returning to her work while I laid back in bed. Honest to God, imagine how hilarious it would be if he, one day came late to school, I'm sorry. My wife is sick, and I had to take care of her a bit before heading here. And the whole class just looks at her like, what? Wife? What the fuck? I really just want to see the reaction of, the school, or, yes, actually, the school and classmates. So yes, he has a fucking hot writer wife. That'd be hilarious. Since I'd slept so much this afternoon, I was having a hard time falling back asleep. After staring at the ceiling for a while, Chisa seemed to notice me doing that, so she stopped her work to chat with me.
体調はどう?
I feel fine, but I'm having a bit of trouble falling asleep.
無理して寝なくてもいいんじゃない? そうやって横になってるだけで体力回復するし。そうだ。ちょっと待ってて。
Something seemed to come to mind as she hurriedly left the room. I waited a bit until the pleasant smell of coffee drifted into the room. Soon after, she walked in carrying 2 steaming cups.
はい、これ。
She handed me one of them. But wait, if I drink coffee, won't that just make it harder for me to sleep?
言ったでしょ。無理して寝ることはないって。それにコーヒーは体にいいのよ。風邪に効果があるって言われてるんだから。
Really? I work at a coffee shop and I've never heard that. Really know a lot of random stuff, huh?
今の仕事をしてると自然とね。
I see, that makes sense. I nodded as I listened to her words, taking a sip of coffee. She took a sip of hers at the same time, then frowned for some reason.
やっぱりユウが作ってくれたやつの方が美味しい。
It's what I do for a living, so it's to be expected. Of course, I wouldn't lose to you in that respect.
ユウにそう言われるとなんか悔しいわね。ね、美味しく入れるコツってあるの?
Of course, for example. And so I talked to her about coffee for a while. Spent the evening with her, chatting away comfortably like this. My hazy consciousness gradually cleared due to an unfamiliar sound. I yawned and forced open my heavy eyelids. My vision was still a little blurry as I checked the clock. It was some time before I had to get up, so I could afford to sleep a bit longer. Guess I'll do that then. Involved in the warmth of spring, I dozed off. Wait, I think I recognize that sound. The fogginess from my mind cleared as I recognized the source of it. Resisting the temptation to go back to sleep, I threw off the covers and got out of bed. After rubbing my eyes, I made my way into the living room. As expected, I found Chisa there with a vacuum cleaner in hand. Good morning, Chisa. I made me call out to her as she cheerfully tidied up. She faced me and shut off the vacuum cleaner.
ごめん、起こしちゃった。うるさかったよね。
Nah, it's fine, I said while stifling a yawn. You could say that was a lie just now, but I didn't really see it that way. Hearing that she was in the middle of cleaning, I didn't want to be the only one sleeping.
もうちょっとで掃除機かけ終わるから少しだけ待ってて。
After saying that, she powered up the vacuum cleaner again. In that case, couldn't let her handle all the housework herself. Heading to the bedroom, I took the futon outside. The weather's really nice today. Sleeping in a futon that spent the day soaking up the sun was the greatest thing ever. Afterwards, I continued cleaning with Chisa. While she was vacuuming another room, I swept the entranceway. If you leave it for too long, dust will build up before you know it. As someone with a dust allergy, fuck all of that. I returned to the living room, but she was gone. I could hear the vacuum cleaner running in the office. She already did the floors, so I guess I can wipe down the tables for now. So I silently spent my time cleaning until I heard the vacuum cleaner turn off in the next room. I guess she's done. As soon as that thought crossed my mind, I felt a hug from behind. Huh, Jisa? I probably had a look of surprise on my face as I was suddenly hugged from behind.
ありがとう。
She squeezed my cheeks and said this with a pleased expression.
自分からお手伝いしてくれてるんだもの。ちょっと感激しちゃった。
All I did was help you clean the house.
って嬉しかったんだもの。嬉しすぎて。
She got herself off there, suddenly stripping off my shirt. Oh.
いけないことしたくなっちゃった。
Oh no. Somehow I'd flipped a switch. Don't ask me how. Wait a sec. Jesus, right now?
私の優への愛は24時間営業だから。
Wait, I feel the same way, but...
それなら問題ないわよね。
Concluding that without asking my take on the matter, she kissed me on the cheek. Jesus Christ, this man's is muscular. This doesn't have anything sexual yet, so I can't actually show the CG. This man's is very muscular. Anyways, back to sexy. They done fucking. We spent the next little while re-cleaning the room, then left for our usual date. After going a bit too far with this morning's escapades, we decided to take it easy and go for a relaxing date downtown.
結構いい雰囲気ね、ここ。
Yeah, it does. The layout's kind of elaborate, but I feel pretty relaxed anyway. We heard about some popular cafe chains popping up in the area lately, so we decided to start our date here. Plus, despite being a chain, their coffee is still pretty good. On top of that, the coffee came with some simple but well-crafted latte art. I was honestly quite impressed by it.
でも、私は味も店の雰囲気も全体的に優のところの方が好きかな。ここも悪くないんだけどね。でも、なんか足りない感じ。
Something you say? Thinking I could glean something useful on top of being curious, I pried a bit further.
店員さんに優がいないところ？
Damn it, woman. It's not like I can clone myself. To her words, I gave a slight smile along with that reply. And so we spent our time at the cafe in a carefree manner, making small talk with one another. Even so...
どうしたの？変な顔して。
I was just thinking that it's weird coming to a cafe now that I work at one.
え、なんで？
How do I put this? How do I describe this discomfort I was feeling? I work as a clerk day in day out, so I guess I'm just not used to being on the customer side. When the other employees welcome guests to the cafe, I get this weird urge to do the same.
何それ？
I'm so used to being on the service side of things, so it must be a side effect of that.
ああ、確かに優に責められるといつもと違う感じだったわね。
That literally could not be further from the point. Why does she always steer things in that direction? Meanwhile, she was staring at me lovingly, giggling. Damn, she totally got me again. You set that on purpose, didn't you?
あら、先に話題を振ってきたのは優でしょ？
No, I'm pretty sure that's not how it went.
はいはい。それよりせっかくのデートなんだから難しい話はなしなし。
She swept it under the rug. Did that really count as a serious topic?
だって優が難しそうな顔してるもの。もっと楽しい顔しないと。ほら、笑顔笑顔。
Like this? I did as she asked, but only managed to force a smile.
58点。
A scathing review. That's an awfully low number.
だって笑顔が硬いんだもの。
While she spoke, she cut off a bite-sized piece of her cake and held it in front of my mouth.
はい。
I went along with it without thinking.
おいしい?
And it was. It had the perfect amount of sweetness. Wait, what did you just make me do? She was so casual about it, I did it without thinking. We're out in public, too.
どうしたのユウ?
Nothing.
もしかして照れてる? 可愛いんだから。
She examined my quickly reddening cheeks and flashed me a tender smile. Her expression was so charming that the rest of my surroundings seemed to fade away for a moment.
もう一口食べる?
No, I'm good.
美味しくなかった?
You just want me to do that again, don't you?
ユウの反応が可愛いんだから当たり前じゃない。ユウはこういうの嫌い?
I don't dislike it. I really don't, but we're in public. Doing it in front of other people is embarrassing.
気にすることないんじゃない? 私たち夫婦なんだし。
That's true, but we can't just ignore our surroundings completely.
硬いわね。まあ言いたいことはわからないでもないし。それに私の愛情はユウだけのものだから、やっぱり二人っきりの時の方がいいわよね。
She took a bite of her cake and smiled.
ここのデザートもなかなか美味しい。
Sheesh. She's able to say such embarrassing things so casually is so unfair.
ユウがいるなら間違いなく通ってた。
I feel like you'd be a regular wherever I worked, though.
それくらいユウが大好きってこと。
She finished the last bite of her cake, wiping the edges of her mouth with a napkin.
ごちそうさまでした。さてと、そろそろ出る?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I just finished up my coffee as well, so I decided to get up from my seat, but since I'd only had coffee today, I suddenly felt the need to pee. Before that, is it okay if I use the bathroom first?
ダメって言うわけないでしょ。いってらっしゃい。
She responded with a wry smile. So I kept you waiting.
おかえり。それじゃあ行きましょうか。
She got up from her seat and headed for the exit, walking right by the cash register. Huh? What about the bill?
もう済ませたわよ。
Huh? How much was it?
いいわよ、これくらい。
That isn't the issue here.
いいからいいから。ユウは気にしない。というより夫婦なんだから、どっちが出しても一緒でしょ?
That may be true in theory, but in practice, she's the one who does the bulk of the paying. Even if you tell me not to worry about it, I'm 100% going to.
ほら、ぼーっとしてないで行くわよ。
Wait, Jisa! In the end, I was forced to let her treat me. But while I appreciated her sentiment, I still had some mixed feelings about it. Wow, it's pretty crowded here. The shop. Natural bread. Leaving the relaxed atmosphere of the cafe, we proceeded to our next destination. As one would expect during a holiday, it was quite busy.
はぐれないように手をしっかりつながないとね。
Agreed. She took my hand into hers. God, her hands are so soft. This must be what happiness feels like.
やっと最近ユウから手を握ってくれるようになったわね。
Well, we've been married for over a year now, so I've gotten pretty used to it.
これくらいって、夫婦っていうより恋人の段階じゃない?
Indeed. We were both each other's first relationship. It felt like we'd skipped the stage of being lovers and jumped straight into marriage. In that way, my sense of normal felt a little distorted.
しかも、恋人といっても若々しくて初々しい学生カップルの定番よね。手をつなぎたくてもじもじしちゃうみたいなの。
Is that how it usually goes?
私も物語の中の恋愛しか知らないから多分としか。
She smiled somewhat bitterly as she said this. Now that I think about it, she's the same as me. Even though she was always leading me by the nose, it's easy to forget her own youth and inexperience.
でも制服で同じ学園で言うと甘酸っぱい青春も楽しそう。
When you put it like that, it just sounds dirty. Like she was planning to attack me in the classroom.
失礼ね。 さすがに私だってそこまででも、ないとも言い切れないわね。
We shared a laugh at her words. Anyway, was there a story you were interested in?
一つ気になってるところがあるのよね。
Oh, which one?
そうそう。
She started to speak, but then came to a stop as she realized something. I followed her gaze. Want a crepe?
そうそう。あれが気になってたのよね。この前テレビで紹介されてたやつ。
Wow, is it that famous?
最近新しくできたみたいよ。甘いものだけじゃなくて、いろいろな種類があって、老若男女問わず人気なんだとか。
That does sound pretty interesting.
でしょ？せっかくこっちに来たんだし、食べてみない？
Yeah, why not? Having made our decision, we head over to get in line. And there are a ton of people waiting ahead of us, probably because of that commercial.
ユウは何にする？
She picked up a menu, scanning it with a pensive expression. The one with ham and cheese sounds pretty good. I've always wanted to try a savory crepe. Which one are you thinking of?
私は王道のチョコバナナかな。でも、フルーツミックスも捨てがたいな。ナッツベリーっていうのも気になるし、迷う。
It's almost our turn, so you'll have to pick soon. The conversation continued like that until it was our turn to order. We ordered, waited a few minutes, then picked up our freshly made crepes and left. So you went with chocolate banana, huh?
なんだかんだで、これが一番美味しそうだったからね。いただきます。
Opening her mouth wide, she took a bite out of her crepe. Her face lit up right away.
これすごく美味しい。他の店と全然違うっていうか。こんなに美味しいクレープ初めて食べたかも。
Is it really that good? Guess I'll try mine and see for myself. With my excitement building, I took a bite. The juices of the ham mingled with the creaminess of the cheese. Both sent my tongue straight to heaven.
ね、美味しいでしょ?
Oh, it really is on another level. She dramatically stared at me, deliberately, deliberately narrating her actions. So she actually did say stare. Rather, it would be more accurate to say she was staring at the crepe in my hand. You want a bite?
いいの?
I mean, your eyes are practically begging for it. Keeping those words to myself, I held out my crepe with a smile. What? Like a baby chick waiting to be fed, she opened her mouth and made a show of waiting for me. She's trying to get me to do what I think she is. Chisa?
ほら、早く。
You want me to do that here?
気にしない、気にしない。これもスキンシップの一つじゃない。だから、ほら、
She suddenly started acting like a spoiled child. Can't say I mind this turn of events. The way her mouth was hanging open was kinda hard. Worried that I might end up staring at her forever at this rate, I gave in and moved my crepe to her lips. Fine, here you go.
ユウのクレープもすごく美味しい。
Right?
それに、ちょっとだけユウの味がしたかも。
Seriously, how many times does this girl need to tease me until she's satisfied?
今度は私の番ね。
Huh? Seems your surprise attacks were far from over.
はい。
Just like she did at the cafe, she held her crepe out in front of me. No thanks, I'm good.
私だけなんてわけにはいかないでしょ。ほら、口を開けて。
Annoying. She waved her crepe in front of my face, grinning mischievously the whole time. I'm fine, really.
もしかして照れてるの？喫茶店で押したのに。
That's exactly why I'm embarrassed about it. Wasn't thinking when I did it back there. Besides, there are way more people here.
私たちは夫婦なんだから、イチャイチャしても罰は当たらないって。それとも、ユウは私とイチャイチャしたくない？
When she puts it like that, I can't refuse. To be honest, I really want to.
私もユウとイチャイチャしたいよ。だから、ね。
Yep, I really can't win against her.
はい。
Giving in to her request, I take a bite out of her crepe.
どう？
Honestly, I was too embarrassed, so it was hard to focus on the taste. But how would I put this? It tasted like happiness, I guess.
私と同じね。
The brilliant smile she flashed me that moment was far too pure for this world. And so, while eating our crepes, we considered all the places we wanted to go next on our date. I already read that one. Where should we go next?
そうね。次は、その前にちょっとトイレ行ってくるから待っててくれる？
Of course. I watched her as she left for the bathroom. Once I was finally alone, I remembered something. And that reminds me, now's the perfect time, isn't it? Headed towards the place I had in mind. I was looking for a particular jewelry store. As for why, I wanted to check the prices for a ring for Chisane. I was a bit nervous walking over to it, but once I got inside, the clerks were really nice. I was able to check out a few different rings and learned a lot about their pricing. Having accomplished my goal, I quickly left the store and walked back to our meeting spot. It more expensive than I thought, but I guess I should just be able to make it. Having memorized the price of the ring I'd set my eyes on, I started forming a plan in my mind. There's one thing I knew that I absolutely need to do before the end of the spring vacation, was to properly propose to her. The first time felt a lot more vague, and it was technically from her. Even the ring I was wearing now was something she'd given to me. That's why this time, she'd be getting a ring from me. Needed to prepare for her kindness. Then I could properly focus on catching up to her. While keeping that goal in the back of my mind, I was able to work hard every day. I wonder if she'll be happy. That thought stuck with me for a while, causing me to spiral into anxiety.
見つけた!
I finally made it back to our meeting spot, completely lost in my own thoughts. Hearing Chisa's angry voice, I came back to my senses.
どこ行ったのかと思って心配したのよ。
Sorry, Chisa. I suddenly had to go to the bathroom too.
それならそうとメッセージの一つでも送りなさいよ、まったく。
I didn't think it would take me that long. I'm really sorry.
じゃあ許す代わりにもうちょっと私に付き合ってもらおうかしら。
Stating her demands, she held out a hand towards me. Of course, that was the plan. I took her hand into mine. Alrighty then. Alrighty. Shall we continue?
へえ。
So I enjoyed the rest of my date with her. That night, I was relaxing with Chisa in the living room, not really doing anything. We somehow ended up watching TV together.
どこか遠くに行きたいわね。
We were watching a show about vacations on TV.
ユウと二人、誰も私たちのことを知らない小さな町で静かに過ごすっていうのも悪くなさそう。
Know exactly why she was saying this all of a sudden. Doesn't matter where you run away to, your deadlines will come anyway. With just a few words, her face went pale. Bullseye.
何もかも忘れてリフレッシュしたい時もあるのよ。
Her expression grew distant. Perhaps her writing wasn't going well recently. Well, escapism aside, it would be nice to go on a trip somewhere.
いいわね、旅行。
Her face lit up at the word trip. Tried to keep the conversation light.
二人の休みの時に一泊二日くらいでプチ旅行するのもいいかも。
If we did go somewhere, what would we do there?
そうね。その土地の観光名所を巡って名物の郷土料理を食べるかな。
Sounds pretty standard.
観光名所になるっていうことはそれなりの理由があってってことだからね。その理由を肌で実感して観光客を引きつける魅力の源泉を探るの。それを自分の頭の中で咀嚼できれば文章として作品の中に活かせるしね。
Even on vacation, you'd be stuck thinking about work.
まあクリエイターとしてはね。
I'm not a writer myself, so I don't fully understand, but I'm sure it's something she can't ever turn on.
ユウはどこに行きたい？
Let's see, hot spring would be pretty relaxing.
若者っぽくない回答ね。
Can't deny that one. I just think going somewhere to relax would be nice. Plus, at a hot spring, you'd be able to relax and clear your mind too, Chisa. For some reason, those words brought a mischievous smile to her face.
なるほど、温泉か。部屋風呂がある温泉旅館とかいいわね。
On sweet baths? A large public bath would be easy to relax in, don't you think?
だって温泉ならユウと一緒に入るから混浴でしょ？
Apparently, going in together was a given.
それに温泉の中でエッチしてるのが見つかったら追い出されちゃいそうだし。
Ah, so that's your motive. I was also given that we'd be having sex. My mind wandered briefly, conjuring up images of a disheveled Chisa at the hot springs. For the briefest of moments, I found myself considering the cost of such a venture. As I was lost in the depths of my imagination, the atmosphere of the travel show we were watching suddenly shifted. For some reason, they were at a haunted house. She screamed and hurriedly changed the channel.
危ない危ない。急に変な企画やらないでよね、まったく。
Now that I think about it, Chisa's pretty bad with ghosts and stuff, isn't she? They aren't going to jump out of the TV. I smiled and got a bitter expression in return.
苦手なものは苦手なんだから仕方ないでしょ。ユウだってトマトのお化けが出たらとか考えると怖くならない？
Not really, though I do hate tomatoes. Giant tomato monster? What did it even look like? I mean, there's literally a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh monster that's basically a giant potato monster. It's a mystic tomato, I think it was. Yep, mystic tomato. I remember that one being like a really good card too. The Japanese art basically looks like if somebody turned a tomato into a jack-o'-lantern. Basically like carved a pumpkin face into a tomato instead. But the English one just looks hideous. Like, when this card is destroyed by a battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one dark monster with a 1,500 or less attack from your deck in face-up attack position. Like, I remember that one being actually quite good. Anyways.
それに怖いの見ちゃったら、寝るときにずっとユウにしがみついちゃうかも。
You do that anyway.
ユウを抱いて寝ると、翌朝の目覚めのスッキリ感とか、疲れの取れ具合とかが全然違うのよね。
My healing powers have grown so much.
愛ゆえよ。
Well, I was used to being her party pillow by now. Honestly, it was more comfortable for me to sleep that way. Now the channel had changed, the show playing on the TV was pretty boring. She'd been yawning for a while now, so I was pretty sure she felt the same way. Wait a second. Watching her yawn, I suddenly remembered something. Didn't she stick her finger in my mouth the other day? Right in the middle of my yawn. My friends, it's time for revenge. With a burning determination swelling within me, I waited my chance. When I thought about what I was about to do, my heart wouldn't stop pounding. But alas, Jisa, you read what you saw. Who knew I was capable of such evil? She rubbed her eyes sleepily. It should be any time now. She opened her mouth for a big yawn. Now! The moment she tried to close her mouth, I struck. I was careful to be gentle, though. Don't worry. Suddenly finding a finger in her mouth, her expression shifted to one of surprise. Success! Your mouth was just so wide, I just got this overwhelming urge to stick my finger in it. I've headed the same smug line she'd given me at the time. Seeing the surprise on her face, I gave evil you a high five in my mind. However, unlike him, she decides, yes, let's just start sucking on the finger. Then I realized my finger was stuck in her mouth. Her surprised expression had turned smug. Not good. That was her mischievous smile. The very next moment, she pulled my finger even deeper into her mouth and started sucking on it. Yep, started sucking on it. I knew that's where this one was going. Hey, wait! She was holding my finger tightly between her lips, erotically licking it all over. Her tongue slid around with practiced movements as watery sounds slipped out from her mouth. She's sucking her finger, she's sucking his finger, YouTube. This is not what you may think it is. Her tongue coiled around my finger like a snake. The wet suction sensation felt way too good. She stopped coiling her tongue, proceeding to flick my finger with the tip instead. It was as if she was teasing my finger! Amidst the passionate flicking of her tongue, a strand of hair fell lightly onto her face. She promptly brushed it aside. I was just my finger, but the experience behind her tongue made it feel incredible. She said, wait just a second. Literally sucking, she suddenly started bobbing her head, her soft lips enveloping my whole finger. That, if you do it like that. But the naughty scene playing out before me had my little guy asserting himself before long. For long, he was armed and ready for battle. Would I even fit inside her at that rate? She's so tight! I can't take it anymore. The moment I thought that she released my finger, the timing was too perfect. And I sat there in a daze, totally dumbfounded. She simply licked her lips and said, she was smiling from ear to ear. Here I was, planning to get revenge. Meanwhile, she'd been leading me by the nose this whole time. She said with a smug, utterly satisfied expression on her face. Gotcha was written all over it. Jeez, I really was no match for her. That night, that reality really sunk in. Transition screen into not a sex scene, surprisingly. The next few days passed without incident. The end of spring break was rapidly approaching. Alright, I was alone in the bedroom. I took a deep breath, trying to prepare myself. As usual, we were planning to go on a date today, but today was also the day of reckoning for my plan. Jisa was always taking care of me. Today's the day I gave her something in return. Hiding the you-know-what in my pocket, I did some practicing in front of the mirror. Jisa, please accept this. As long as I keep my cool, I should be fine. Despite thinking that, I can't help but feel nervous.
ゆう、そろそろ行くよ。
That dumb yeah!
鏡なんて見てどうしたの？
Seeing me staring at myself in the mirror, she entered the room. As she entered the room, she tilted her head in confusion. That was just checking for a bedhead. Deciding to have a look for herself, she gave me a once over.
大丈夫よ。今日も可愛くてかっこいい。私の最愛の旦那様よ。
She was already a step ahead. Looks like we're still in the cherry blossom season. We're planning to go on a leisurely stroll to the park as usual, but we noticed that the cherry blossoms have gone into full bloom and we're already falling.
そうね。今年の春はあと少しって感じ。
It's bad, bit sad, isn't it? Looked up at the swaying trees with a lonely smile.
そう？私はまた来年が楽しみになったかな。こうして優と歩きながら、また次の桜を見ようって。
Her positive outlook was just like her. Rather than getting all depressed, I should try looking at it that way too. Yeah, you're right. Let's come see them again next year.
もちろん。
She said this with a dazzling smile.
それに桜が散って春が終われば次は夏。水着の季節よ。今年はちょっと大胆なのにチャレンジしてみようと思ってるんだけど、どう？
This wasn't an easy one to answer. Even if you asked me that. Honestly, anything would look good on you. I couldn't wait to see what she went with this year. On the other hand, I wasn't looking forward to her teasing me about it like she was now. Besides, there was a lot in between, like Tanabata. I tried changing the topic to avoid answering.
あら？ユウは水着より私の浴衣姿の方がお望み？
I had no hope of escape from the start. I look forward to seeing you either way. I said this softly, the embarrassment from her teasing still fresh in my mind.
ありがとう。ユウを脳殺できるように頑張るわね。
Despite my embarrassment at her constant teasing, I felt like I'd gotten better at responding lately.
もちろん、ちゃんと夜に合わせて。
Just as I thought I was getting used to her teasing, she decided to throw me a sucker punch.
何吹き出してるの？もしかしてエッチなこと考えた？夜って夜空に合うような模様ってことだったんだけど。
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?
バレちゃった？
Well, I mean, I stammered, my face growing hot. I was struggling to get my mind out of the gutter.
でもユウと一日中一緒にダラダラできるのもあと少しか。
Will we really be able to do that? We'll be able to spend more time together at least.
私にとってはユウと一緒にいるってことは仕事してても休憩中と同じよ、同じ。
In that case, the spring break must have felt like quite the vacation for you, huh?
そうよ。おかげで仕事が進まない。
What? She's never been this nonchalant about her work before. For a moment I was worried that she really wasn't getting anything done, and that it was all my fault.
なんてね。むしろいつもよりもはかどったわ。
She smiled and stuck out her tongue. God, don't scare me like that.
心配かけたならごめんね。
It's fine as long as you're really doing well.
今回はちょっと難産気味だったけど、あれはもうクリエイターの常というか。
But it really does seem like things have been going well for you lately. Her expression was hard to read as she went silent for a moment. Then her expression shifted to a tender smile.
本当にユウのそういうところ大好き。
Huh? What? What do you mean?
そういうところに気づいてくれるユウは素敵。大好き。抱いてって言ったの。
Well, I'm always watching you after all. Of course I'd notice at least that much. Of course I would. Besides, you notice little changes in my behavior all the time too, don't you? In fact, I feel like she can actually see what I'm thinking sometimes.
当たり前じゃない。いつだってユウを見てるもの。見てるだけじゃなくて、愛してるし、食べちゃいたいもの。
I knew it! I've been her prey this whole time! I'd appreciate not being eaten, thanks.
考えとく。でも心配してくれて本当にありがとう。おかげで苦戦してた新作、なんとかなりそう。
Really?
本当。いろいろとお手数をおかけいたしまし
I
た。
don't know why, but this feels like if you took Shingeki no Iroko, but made Iroko a far more capable woman. Like that's like the best way I can describe this. Just in case you don't know about it, Shingeki no Iroko is an actually really good manga in my opinion, where the main character is a adult woman who basically keeps a Twitter account where she basically posts all of her fantasies. She's a massive otaku, and recently she was fired from her job, and after running dry her funds, she started working at like a handyman company, where she met the male protagonist, who is a high schooler. And her fantasies were usually stuff like that. Well, of course, her fantasies, but slowly but surely, her fantasies just starts being things that actually happened. And it's actually a really good manga, in my opinion. It's really good, and by God, Iroko is so fucking precious. Anyways, her smile shone with a brilliant radiance, unlike any I'd seen before. That I knew she'd finally resolved what had been troubling her. Nah, don't worry about that. Besides, I didn't even do anything. The moment those words escaped my lips... Ow! Still smiling, she flicked my forehead.
ちょっと前に同じ話した。
Sorry.
それにさっき、おかげでって言ったわよ。
Huh? What does she mean?
最愛の人が近くにいて、見ててもらえて、愛してもらえる。それって本当に活力が湧いてくるものよ。だから何もしてなかったんじゃなくて、何もしなくても、ユウはちゃんと力になってたわよ。
I see. Thanks, Chisa.
いえいえ、どういたしまして。って、逆じゃない？
She retorted with a wry smile. I still really like this outfit. In fact, it may be, but from my point of view, she's the one who's always giving me the encouragement I need. That's why I tried to grip the ring in my pocket. I positioned myself in front of her.
どうしたの？急に私の
Taking
前に
advantage
出
of
て。
her confusion, I reached out and forcefully took her hand. Chisa!
今度。
Damn, I shouldn't have rushed it. Ahem! I took a moment to collect myself. Chisa.
なに？ユウ？
The words were stuck in my throat. Perhaps she could tell what I was trying to do. She didn't try to rush me at all. Instead, she stood there with a gentle smile. It was like she was trying to give me a little push. Sorry, can I take a breather real quick? Felt pretty pathetic about having to ask for that one, but I wouldn't be able to continue without one.
もちろんいいわよ。
She's always been there when I needed her most. She's given me so much and made me so happy. That's why I know this won't come close to making up for it, but this was a start. Today I would take that first step. Thanks, Chisa. Give me a second. Took a deep breath and slapped my cheeks as hard as I could. Okay!
大丈夫？
Yeah, I'm feeling much better. To ensure my feelings were properly conveyed, I spoke as slowly and clearly as I could. Chisa, there's something I need to tell you. Because I have you at my side, I'm able to work hard each and every day. I've never been happy in my whole life. But I can't let myself be satisfied with just that. I need to give back some of the happiness you've given me. After all, I want to be together forever. Might have sounded a bit selfish, but...
もちろん。
She answered with that same gentle
た
smile.
とえユウが離れてって言っても、離れてあげないわよ。
I feel the same way. That's why I don't intend for this to make up for everything, and I know it isn't much, but do you think you could accept this? Took out the small box I was hiding in my pocket, placing it in her palm.
これって、指輪？
Her expression turned surprised for a moment, then she blushed and smiled softly. Yeah, it... Whoops, I accidentally hit the mouse. It isn't particularly expensive or anything.
高い安いは関係ないの。こういうのは気持ちなんだから。でも、無理したんじゃないの？
Of course it isn't. She's always paying for everything. Our living expenses for one thing, but even our dates. Anyway, I was acting tough, but in reality I'd used up all of my savings on it. I decided that I wanted to do this a while ago, and I've been saving up ever since.
それでも春休み中、結構バイトしてたじゃない。
Well, that's only been a bit more than usual. But you've been coming to visit me, so it hasn't really felt like work anyway.
もう
I actually managed to make her embarrassed. Oh, are you embarrassed right now? That was a pretty rare sight, so I got a little carried away and tried teasing her a little.
ほら、調子に乗らない。
Ow! She hit my arm playfully.
まったくもう。でも、そっか。このために、バイト、頑張ってたのね。本当に嬉しい。ありがとう、ユウ。
Seeing her smile as tears spilled onto her cheeks, a sigh of relief washed over me.
さ、そろそろデートの続き行こっか。
Yeah.
デート終わったら、思いっきし美味しい夜ご飯作ってあげる。
Already thinking about dinner? It's already past lunch, so I could see why.
私の精一杯の照れ隠し。
Her smile was dazzling as always, but this one felt a bit more
可
childlike.
愛いでしょ？
She was just as mischievous as always, though. You're the cutest in the whole world.
ありがとう。
She's an adorable onesan, but an even cuter wife.
そうそう。夜ご飯の後は、もちろん、2回目の初夜もね。
I never stood a chance against her. Not once. Even so, I finally took the first step towards closing that gap. Ending credits? I'm just gonna skip this, I think. I can't skip this. Okay. I'm not gonna show the feed since I have a bad feeling. Ha! Sex scene CG already. I'm the best. Another one! Am I good or am I good? Oh, and a third one! Okay, this is literally just a piano version of the opening, so... I would skip it if I could! But I can't! Hachimitsu soft! Fucking sweet as honey! Some time had passed since my proposal. I was now in job search mode. Oh! Oh boy! Or I can suddenly put myself with the protagonist better. So relatable. I'm still searching and no one's answering me. Help. Thanks to that, it felt like I had managed to catch up to her a little bit. I feel like I've grown quite a bit since then in my own way. Though, to be honest, compared to me, Jisa was even more amazing. She finally managed to release that new work of hers, and its popularity had been steadily rising. She was also getting better at managing deadlines. No matter how much I chased after her, the distance between us never seemed to close. Quite the opposite, in fact. Sun feels really nice today.
なーに黄昏てるのよ。
To be honest, the job search wasn't going too well. Oh! Even more relatable! Wanting to do everything I could to support her, I'd ended up applying for some companies that were a bit beyond me. Turns out the world isn't that simple. I'd actually just finished an interview with one of those companies today. Sensing that it hadn't gone well, she didn't ask me how it went. The real world isn't as nice as I thought.
そのおかげで私はスーツ姿の優が何回も見れるから眼福なんだけどね。
Once you get a job, you'll see it every day, right?
そうじゃないのよね。
What is it?
スーツに着られてる優が可愛いんじゃない。
It's definitely rare to see me wearing a suit, but if you ask me, it doesn't suit me at all.
でも着慣れた夫を出迎えて、ご飯にする？お風呂にする？それとも私にする？なんていうのもやってみたいわよね。
Someone looks like he's having fun. Meanwhile, I'm struggling to get a job over here.
楽しいんじゃなくて楽しみなのよね。
Looking forward to it?
そう、楽しみ。
She flashed me a dazzling smile.
だって、どんな優でも私が愛してるのは絶対に変わらないし。どんな優とでも楽しい幸せな生活ができるって分かってるもの。あんな優とならあれやりたい。こんな優ならどれをやりたい。まだまだ優とやりたいことはたくさんあるんだから。だったら楽しみしかないじゃない？
I can't say I disagree with her. As long as we were together, I knew I'd be happy. In that case, I'll make sure all of it comes true. No matter what, I'll make you happy. That's right. Giving her that much is the least I could do.
楽しみに待ってる。
I don't know what I'm doing. Though I'd come to this realization really late, I decided to dedicate myself to giving back to her. I would face forward with her without looking back.
あ、そういえば私、いい仕事知ってて紹介できるわよ。
She said with a start as if recalling something. Really? What kind of job? I reacted as if my life depended on it. In my excitement, I managed to bite my tongue.
人を幸せにする仕事。
Make someone happy? Something in the service industry? Something in the service industry, perhaps? Alright, give me the rundown.
疲れた人を日々癒してくれて、ただいるだけでいい仕事。
Ah, house husband.
待遇も悪くないわよ。
Huh? What could this job possibly be?
給料以外も、朝夜と出来たての美味しいご飯がついてて、毎日癒してくれるお嫁さんもついてくる。
What?
主婦。
Yep. Way of the house husband. She said this matter-of-factly with her usual mischievous smile. What the fuck does that say? If you restart the game from the main menu, additional options for side stories will appear. What?
蜂蜜。ノットフィクション。
Oh, how cute. I'll just turn this off. See the options for side stories. The carnivorous sabbatical after-work rendezvous, ever-loving One-san. I think somebody told me about these and they're literally just sex scenes. Yep. it's them going on their vacation to the onsen that they planned. Ignore the moans, ignore the moans, ignore the moans, ignore the moans. Literally just ignore the moans. This was a mistake! Oh, you get to experience the pain that I had to go through while skipping the sex scenes, because this is maybe half as loud as she moans during the actual sex scenes. So every time, like, I actually went back into the calls while I was skipping sex scenes to talk to people. And I, like, partially wasn't able to understand anything the other said, just because she wouldn't fucking stop moaning.
Not fiction.
That wasn't mildly annoying. Anyways, I've got just one, and we'll see how 9, the option for 9 ends up being. Let's hope it ends up being fine. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye-bye.